The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 7. Billy returned to front view. The light, which had become familiar to him now, once again seemed to come from every direction outside of his eyelids. He could not hear until he opened his eyes to see what in this world could have disturbed his fire. Billy's eyes came open to hear the familiar sound of the inside of a campfire. He did not hear anything unusual, but standing in his sights was a shapely naked woman. Her skin was on fire like his own, and she did not seem to be on the verge of becoming a skeleton. "I want her," Billy said to himself inside his head. His body stepped toward the naked flaming woman, making loud grunting noises. The flaming woman seemed to stretch out her hands towards Billy. It wouldn't be until after that Billy considered this gesture as a moderate way to share information. Billy slapped the flaming woman's outstretched hand in such a manner that opened her arms wide. Billy would later remark having an overwhelming sense of possession. Billy's body moved with blurring speed into the woman's arms. Her hair was alive and seemed to float in the air with the rising flames. Billy's teeth sank into her neck. His jaws seemed to unhinge to accommodate for her size. He could see himself shoving the woman closer to him like a person gathering aroma from the air. Billy did not need to chew, but the process took 7 bites and was over in what felt like a matter of seconds. Billy stood on the coal-like road with the cottage. Billy stood on the coal-like road between the cottages. "I am alone." "No, you are not," a voice answered him back. The voice was in his head, not a visible vibration. Billy turned himself, picking a new direction to walk in. He looked into the open door of the cottage to his left. There was a flaming man on the verge of becoming a skeleton, looking at Billy in amazement. When their eyes met, the man in the cottage ran deeper inside. "It's seen what I've done," Billy said to himself, stepping towards the door. "Hold up, Billy, is it? It is your lucky eternal evening, for you have decided to swallow quite the gal." Billy closed his eyes and retreated into the darkness of self-reflection as his body stood in the doorway to the cottage, blocking in the flaming man. The darkness of self-reflection was instantly filled with the image of a flaming coffee shop. There was a bar counter that ran through the center of the room and booths along the wall. Everything was on fire and seemed to be constructed frame by frame like an old moving picture. These first few moments are important. I am a valuable asset that is vulnerable, and I assessed from the way you surprised and consumed me that you are quite the intellectual, or maybe you're an act before you think kind of guy, and I've just signed my oblivion papers." The voice in Billy's thoughts trailed off. "I'm scared," the voice whispered. "Valuable and scared." Images showed the flaming lady Billy had just eaten sitting in a booth across from Billy. "Please say something. You're freaking me out." Billy could see her lips move. "You've got this insane control, but seem to be completely lacking in skill. Others would have made thousands of actions by now, or a few very final ones at least." The woman in the images made strong eye contact and made honest gestures. "I mean, I don't want to catalyst my own torture. I'm valuable, you know. Not just my knowledge, but my company. The flaming woman made seductive moves at Billy across from the booth. She stopped and tilted her head for a second. One hand wiped at her face from top to bottom in an exhausted gesture. The coffee shop fades away, and the two of them are standing in darkness. She looks at him intently. Please, talk to me. Billy takes control of his self-reflection and moves his vision to the left of the flaming woman. Consuming that flaming man in the cottage will probably just add to the voices inside my head. It appears as though being eaten does not necessarily mean death. The independent life force of the flaming woman seems to be a part of me in some sort of limbo. As Billy said this aloud inside his head, he saw crude images of him and the flaming woman. The image of him moved forward in blocky motions and ate the flaming woman in a cartoonish way. The woman could be seen going down the throat and settling as a lump in the stomach. Then the lump began to rumble, and the light was released. The light was the yellow color of the lone star in the sky. Amazing, Billy said. The light moved upwards towards Billy Image's head. The light moved upwards towards Billy Image's head. In the darkness, the image of Billy, with the light in his head, split into multiple copies of each other. Each individual image began to do a separate thing to the light that they repeated on a loop, looking like instructions. I seem to have the choice on what to do with this woman's soul, Billy thought to himself. Wow, you work fast. You got away from me for a second. I like that you show your work. The voice of the woman was talking to him again. Billy moved his self-reflection sight to the left and thought, she has not asked me to be reconstructed, and that leads me to believe it's not possible to put her back into a body. You work so well alone, this cannot be undone, but some speak of ascension and others of civic duties. Others yet speak of the nothingness they were promised on their first death. The image of the woman was on the right of Billy's view, and she was looking at him with big, unblinking eyes. Billy made a mental gesture towards the flaming woman's thoughts. Billy was flooded with facts that swirled chaotically before forming inside his imaged hands as a book. The book had Jessica the Warrior printed in big bold letters on the cover. Billy opened the book to the first few pages. Earthborn, January 27, 1987, Little Rock, Arkansas, America, to Lisa and Charles. Billy flipped a few more pages. "Oh, dude, Billy, not cool. Don't read my book, man," Jessica complained. Billy read on in the middle of a sentence. "Hot out on the blacktop, and everyone is gathered around now. No one is making eye contact with me, but they seem to be in my corner. I pick up a shapely rock from the ground and slowly walk towards my opponent." Billy flipped some more pages, looking for a change in the line-for-line catalog of Days on Earth. "Don't ignore me. This is not cool, Billy. I've got access to your books, too." "What?" Billy asked her. "Yeah, that's right. Sharon and Tate seem like very interesting people," Jessica said in a matter-of-fact tone of voice. "Welcome aboard, partner." And with that, Billy opened his eyes out of the self-reflection to the sound of the campfire and crying skeleton. "Teach me how to tell this fellow hi."